All right. It's on, man. Episode 2. How you feeling?
So I'm tired from the workout and then walking up those large set of cathedral-like steps.
Dude, I'm dead.
Yeah,
I'm dead.
yeah.
What did we do today?
We did all kinds of leg workouts. Then you had me rowing and on the bike, and I'm tired, man. I had aspirations of doing other things today, but probably not.
We did dumbbell squats,
Dumbbell squats.
goblin squats.
Yup.
Those were killer. Mm-hmm. What else did we do?
The
kick bag.
kickbacks, and then one leg squats, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah.
And then you tried to have me do some ridiculous thing
Oh, yeah.
at the end, which just, I'm pretty sure I would have had to go to the hospital afterwards. So I didn't.
Pull-ups.
Yeah, that name sounds scary to me.
Yeah, it's like basically spreading your legs and then keeping your back straight and just pulsing up and down with your leg without it going down to the ground.
Pulse ups. That sounds like the last name of like an 18th century wizard, like who's a bad guy. I don't think I could do those. They were crazy.
Yeah, my coach does them, and Jesus, man, he gets like really high too
Yeah.
with those, and yeah, but he's super flexible. I aspire to be that flexible. Like,
Yeah.
he can get his knees all the way to his shoulder, and just play on his back the whole time.
Yeah, I'm more like, I'm as flexible as like, I'm gonna say like an alligator maybe. Like I bend, but I don't really like. I can't really touch my teeth. I can roll, but I can't really can't really go crazy. I don't know. I wonder if that's like a thing. Like are big guys just like are taller men like not as flexible? It might not be true.
No.
I don't know. I never.
It
seen
all
a big
depends
dude
on just doing the actual work. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Just do the work and get flexible. Because I've seen there's a famous jiu-jitsu fighter, the Giraffe. His name is
That's
from
his name?
Africa. Well, that's not his name, but
But I mean, like that's his. Like someone gave him that name. Like you know, it's serious when you get renamed from the animal kingdom. Like you're a serious dude.
African guy. I mean, oh my god, he's super flexible and super good. So yeah, it's all about just putting in that work, man.
Did you ever see a giraffe fight?
Oh yeah, when they
You think they're helpless? Nah,
dude,
that's like a dinosaur, right? It's like trying to fight a dinosaur.
they just swing that neck and then smack.
Yeah, and then they kick. Like if you can't survive a kick from a giraffe.
Dude, no.
Like maybe an elephant could go like toe to toe with it, but I'm pretty sure they're best friends in the animal kingdom. Elephants and giraffes.
My son loves tortoise, right?
Yeah.
We have a tortoise, and so for his birthday, we went down to Miami, and we went to see these giant Aldabra tortoises. They're like 700 pounds each, and there was 2 males there, and the whole enclosure is reinforced with 2 layers of steel and concrete. Because when they just like launched at you, there was this part of the enclosure that is just concrete and it's just cracked, and it's like, yeah, he did that. And he says when they're fighting, you can hear it throughout the whole park. The smack.
They get mad?
Oh yeah.
I was under the assumption for decades the turtles were friends of all people. I didn't know they fought like that.
They fight. We have a little tortoise, right?
Uh-huh.
And if he ever like kind of like feels like, okay, this is a threat or whatever, he'll like get on his foot, like pull back and just wham and pull his neck in, so his shell is doing the attacking. So that's what they do. They attack with their shell.
They're like a defensive end in football.
Dude.
Leading with the head.
And he's like little, right? Like, imagine now 700 pounds of that just like launching at you. So we saw one that was amazing, like cool. We petted, we fed it. We had like a whole VIP tour with him,
Uh-huh.
and all that. And then the other one came out, And he, they were like, yeah, just stay to the side. You can still pet it and all this stuff. He seems fine today. But just stay to the side. Don't let him corner you. Like, if he corners you,
No,
and you're like,
you're gonna leave.
It's a tortoise.
I'll stand behind the glass, please. Thank you.
And then I was like, oh, so, do they have offsprings? Do they mate? Like, yeah, we used to have a female here, but between the two of them, like, she was getting, like, bred like 40 times a day, like,
Oh man,
the all day long. It was just like, we felt bad for her, so we took her away.
That's
Dude,
crazy.
These like over 100-year-old tortoises are still going wild.
That's crazy. Well, they have to be of the same like breed, though, right?
Yeah, Aldabra.
Because I've seen like documentaries where they're like, "We don't know you. Like we're not interested. Sorry, goodbye."
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah. Dude, tortoises are awesome. They're amazing animals.
Aren't they kind of? So there was a wide variety at the Galapagos Islands, right?
Well, the Galapagos Islands there's probably other ones, but they're known for the Galapagos tortoise, right?
Yeah.
They're giant tortoises too.
I remember reading somewhere that some of them weren't really native there. That pirates and trip traders brought them there en route.
Right.
And then they just established themselves. Same way as where they had the sheep problem in the Galapagos. You ever hear that story?
No.
So, like, from people from just showing up there from, millennia, they brought sheep to eat the sheep. And then they would leave the sheep and leave the island. So the sheep bred and they started gaining a number. And as you know, sheep clear all fields, forests, they eat everything. And it was like a real problem. Like, the tortoises couldn't live there anymore. There's a lot of the rainforest was going away. So they had this initiative where they wanted to kill all the sheep off the island because they weren't native to it, right? And all the people that said that they needed the sheep up there said, no, we don't want you to kill them. That's cruel. You remove them. So they can't catch a sheep. Like, it's really hard to catch them all. So they literally went around and they would shoot them with a medication that kind of inoculates them from ever breeding again, sterilizes them. So there's this dude in a helicopter. His full-time job with a dart gun is to fly around and hit a few sheep with this dart gun, and it solved the problem.
That's like in Florida, they have guys going around with little .22 rifles. I mean, it's a freaking rifle, right? Like, it's a real.
It's a weapon.
It's a weapon, and shoot iguanas off trees in neighborhoods. Normal neighborhood, that's completely legal because they're infesting. They're becoming so infestations, they're just taking over, just like the pythons and stuff.
That's crazy. So but what about all the alligators? Like, when I went to Disney World, I had to take the rental car back.
Yeah.
And I walked through, instead of getting an Uber, it was like a half-mile walk through.
You took an alligator
through the long parking lot of Disney World, and there was a boat beside the parking lot because it was in the evening and no one was there anymore. There was 25 alligators walking through this moat. I was like, oh man, I walked to the other side. I was like, I hope they don't run fast because I'm pretty sure they're fast.
They're pretty fast.
And I'm not a great runner.
In the opposite, though, animals are native to New York area and all that stuff are now starting to come into the city more, like coyotes.
Are they?
So there's people who's coming out of their brownstone Brooklyn house and see a coyote up front.
Wow. Because growing in the city, there was pigeons. That was nature to me.
That's nature,
pigeon,
right?
Yeah, that was nature.
There's a great book by Steve Rinella. I gotta remember. Maybe I have it on my list here. I'll look it up. But basically, he's talking about how to raise kids in the wild when, even though you just have, just the city. And he said at some point he lived in New York City, and he would teach his kids how to catch pigeons and cook it,
Cook a pigeon?
Yeah.
I wonder what they taste
Fish
like.
and
I was always under the assumption that was off limits in the city, the pigeon.
I don't know. It's a really good book, but like that.
No, I would feel like Mike Tyson would be watching me if I tried to catch pigeons. Like come beat me up or something.
Oh my god, Outdoor Kids in an Inside World, great book.
Outdoor Kids in an Inside World.
Yeah,
I'll check it out.
Really, really good. I mean, like that's one of the books like that really got me into getting my kids out there and doing more stuff, because I mean I grew up in Paraguay, and there's we used to live in the city, but we used to have a country house, and on vacation we go to the country house by the river, like no electricity, no anything, and just live like that. And we would cook and all that stuff, but it wasn't really like camping and all that stuff, because later on we got electricity, we had a fridge, but it's still like you lived outside. We had like sort of like a house. It's like a structure there.
So you invented glamping.
Yeah,
that's what it sounds like.
It was glamping. We still have that house down there.
Real? That's awesome, man.
We still have the childhood home and everything, but it wasn't really like my dad never was like, here's how you hunt, and here's how you like do stuff. Like it was more of like, let's go and let's swim in the river and kind of get away and all that stuff, and everybody just took care of it. But my dad never was like, let's go hiking or anything. There wasn't any of that. So growing up, like my kids, I want them to kind of have that, like those skills. And in order to teach those skills, I had to learn those skills. So like this whole thing of me going camping for a week, and all this stuff, like nothing at all, hiking 10 miles a day, that's all new, man.
Yeah, like I came up in the city, like I watched YouTube videos of other people camping and hiking, but like
literally that's what I did. I was like, okay, I want to learn how to hunt. I want to learn how to do all that stuff. What things do I need to buy? Where do I go? And I started doing it because I wanted my kids to have those skills.
But see, like like knife safety. Like when you said the word knife safety last week, I thought, what do you just lock it in a drawer? Like that's what knife safety means to me.
Just looking out there's about 3 knives just sitting on the table.
Oh, nice. I notice them now. No one's messing with you, man.
It's not that. It's just, I don't know, man. Like, just pocket knives, like I like to collect them. They're not that big of a deal, but yeah. But yeah, teaching my kids was big for me. I want them to learn that.
Well, that's the point, right?
Yeah. So, but growing up in Paraguay was funny. There's not a lot of us.
So when did you come to live in Philadelphia?
I came here when I was 10 years old.
10. Okay, so you were. So I always wondered the question when she was like, why you have zero Philly accent. Like you were old enough to be spared the accent that I am now speaking into this microphone. Like when you say water, it sounds correct. When I say water, it kind of sounds like I'm like swimming, maybe. Water. WOODER.
Yeah. That Philly stuff. But yeah, I don't know. Like, there's not a lot of us, like, from Paraguay, right?
I think you're the first person that honestly, at least around here, that I met from Paraguay.
So I'll tell you something funny. Because I make a joke about, I'm probably about right on the number here. There's 50 of us in Philly, and I know them all, right?
Yeah, that's awesome, though, that you know them all.
So in the whole Philly area, like you go to like New York, and there's a city called Flushing. Mm-hmm. It's like full of Paraguayans, right? Mm-hmm. And so Josh from work, do you remember him? Do you know him? Right? Yeah, right. So he put in his 2 truths and a lie. He's like, I was born in Paraguay, and then I clicked like, psh, that's a lie, right? I don't know you.
That's not true because I don't know you.
That's not true because I don't know you, right? And then that came up as true, and I flipped out. I was like, what? Like that's crazy. So I messaged him. It turns out he was born there, but he was adopted at an early age, and so he lived all his life.
Which Josh?
The one up front.
Oh, so we have a couple.
Okay.
I do a couple. Okay, got it. Really?
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
He's a good dude, man.
He is a good dude.
I'll tell you what. It is refreshing to walk through a door to an office and always be greeted by someone who's positive.
Yeah.
He's like, "What's up, man? It's a good day today."
Yeah.
He's a great guy, man.
He's funny. He's a funny dude. I'll have him on the podcast one day. He says.
Yeah, we were gonna start dialing people in, right?
Yeah. Soon. But yeah. Anyway, so the whole thing of like, there's so little of us. There's about 7 million Paraguayans, right? Mm-hmm. So that's like the city of Philadelphia, right? So I'm in Dubai, and I'm going in the hotel, and my brother sends me a message. He's like, "Oh, you're in Dubai? There's a lady who plays the harp in hotels in Dubai, and the harp is very traditional Paraguayan instrument, and she's from Paraguay." And I was like, "No kidding!" She was just playing The Weeknd, like in my hotel like lobby. Like I just saw her, you know, and all that stuff, and it's like, oh my god, that is so crazy. Like to me, that was like, wow, there's a Paraguayan in Dubai other than me.
Like, mind blowing.
Mind blowing, right?
Wow. And they play the harp.
Yeah. So, of course, with as little population as we have, to me, that's like, you know, mind blowing. I go to work and I'm telling the story to, you know, one of our co-workers who happens to be Indian. And when I get to the part, and she was from Paraguay, right? and he's completely unfazed. And then it just hits me, like, for me to see one of my countrymen that I don't know is a big deal. For him to see one of his countrymen, it's a stone thrown away. It's like, so it's like 2 billion of them. They're like, they're like, they consist of 1/4 of the population. It's like 1 out of every 4 person. It's gonna be any, you know, like that just like killed me because I was like, yeah, I was super excited. He's completely, oh, yeah, cool, you know. That's like, you don't understand.
Yeah, you don't know, man. So what's the story with the Porsche car? There.
Oh,
yeah.
So that's a Lego Technic Porsche RSR.
That's a Lego?
Yes. It's
Whoa.
made out of Legos. It's, I think, over 4,500 pieces.
That's commitment, bro.
Took me about 18 hours to build. And not only that, what you don't see is the engine that you built also. And the engine is linked to the wheels. So when the wheels turn, you can see the pistons of the engines moving in the correct order that an RSR car would.
That's crazy. Man, I hope you have that hung up securely because good balls.
I hope so too.
You're gonna have like, you're picking up like 20,000 pieces of Lego on the floor.
There is another one, a GT3, same size, and it has the transmission and paddle shifters built in, so you can shift the paddle shifters, the little tiny paddle shifters of the Lego pieces, and it'll shift the gears in the transmission that you build in the correct ratio.
That's awesome, man.
That is really, really cool. I love it.
So I get through like halves of Legos. Like if I get like whenever I get, even as a kid when I got Legos, they were more like, I mean, I don't know, they were more like throw them at my friends. And I never got through like a full build. Now, like the baby Legos, I was good with.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I just don't. Maybe I don't have the patience or the skill to really build Legos up. I guess that's why I'm really bad at Minecraft too. Suck at Minecraft. The thing that I wind up building there is just horrific. Which standard to contrary to like standard belief, like being a designer, I should be able to do something really cool with Legos. Nope. It's the one medium I can't.
My son is really good.
Yeah.
He if you walk into his room, the whole room is like covered in Lego, things that he built.
That's awesome, man.
And he'll build stuff like that's in real life. So the first time we went fishing, and he caught a bass, he was like super excited, and then he came home and started from the pieces that he had, just build out the environment that we were on, the water, the fishing pole, the fish, and he even put me on the other side with my phone, like kind of taking a picture of him catching the fish. Like, I'll show it to you later. It's
That's
amazing.
cool, man. So sounds like he has like artist in him.
He does.
Like, get him some clay, man. Let him go nuts in the garage.
Like, that makes a mess.
No, it's not that bad.
There's a limit.
You're not gonna allow clay. Not wet clay, just regular clay. Not Play-Doh. Play-Doh gets everywhere. That's not the good clay. Get like regular clay.
It's like I'm gonna
I'll bring some over
spike. No, don't do that.
Like, dude, you got a 5-pound brick. I'll just like make some.
My wife is just gonna kick you out. Like, how
Like,
dare you bring things that
in
make
here.
mess in this house? I remember somebody bought a kid like some paint set or something like that. One of those that you spin it and then you basically put drops of paint. It'll splatter. It'll make like a cool pattern. And and my wife literally took that and threw it in the trash.
Not even regifted it.
Nope.
So
he's not getting that.
So I went to art school. I would paint and sculpt, and it is messy. You kind of need a studio or a garage.
We have one now. We do. Like, my son has 2 closets.
Yeah.
So one of them is for his clothes.
Yeah.
And the other one, we made it into like a nook where they can
That's
do
cool.
all kinds of art projects.
Mm-hmm.
And my older son like draws and paints like amazing.
That's great.
You just see, like, I'll show you.
Yeah, I want to check some out because I
Yeah.
grew up doing the same thing.
Yeah, like-
Reproducing comics, then I went to oil painting and
He did.
sculpting. And
Yeah, he did comics. He does like paintings.
That's great.
He does great stuff.
Yeah, I would love to see his
Yeah.
setup and see his work. That's
Yeah.
awesome, man. That's a cool thing. You know, I learned how to paint with oils was Bob Ross. Sunday morning, happy trees, calmest dude. And you know what's funny? So I grew up, and maybe this is because it's part of like the character of the person I became. I like idolized Bob Ross. I thought he was an awesome human being. And then like in my early like 40s, I was watching him again, and I noticed he had one long pinky fingernail, and I was like, my wife was like, look at his coke nail, and I was like, no, that's for like slicing paper for painting. She's like, no. She's like, he's from the 70s, and he has a long pinky fingernail. That's a coke nail, and I was like, that's okay if Bob has a coke nail. He's calm still all the time. So now I wonder, like, what is Bob Ross like on cocaine? He might be. Like, does he
Those trees are not very happy.
like, are the trees like have like mohawks, and like is the water like really moving fast?
I want
Like,
to see those paintings.
yeah, I want to see those ones, right? So that's how I learned how to paint. And when I went into art school, I got into animation, and that all started as a kid where I would just sit down with comic books and trace, then learn how to draw, trace, learn how to draw. And that's what I
do to trace a lot and then learn the lines and all that stuff.
And I used to do like we do like go down into like the art institute. We had classes where it was like a live model, and you would just learn how to draw a hand, learn how to draw. I'm terrible at portraits. If I draw your portrait right now, you'll be like, get out of my house. Like, it's terrible. Like, I can't do it. But my mother-in-law is like, she's next level. So I had to learn to be a decent artist. She just was. Like, it just made sense to her to take an image and put it down on 2D on paper or some type of medium. She's really good.
I want to get, like, at some point, I want my son to take, like, real art lessons. Because the art lessons that are, like, out there for kids are, like, horrible. They're for kids. Mm-hmm. Where my son, the way that he learns is, like, you teach him one thing, and he'll use it. Like, I was teaching him, like, shadowing with lines. And do, like, if the lines are closer together, they create darker, things. If the lines are farther apart. And he did this tortoise. where the shell is like a different circling lines that create shadows and all this stuff, and it's amazing. And like, just told him one time, like, boom, you got it. Like, so like he needs like the next level up. Same thing when he started learning French. First is like Duolingo and everything like that. And if we put him in French class with the kids, he's gonna know it all. And it's like there's no point in that. My wife got him into the community college.
I think he told me that's awesome. He was already in college class.
Got him to do a college level French class. And first she called and they were like, no, we can't accept. It's like, no, you don't understand. Like, he's really good. Like, he'll sit through a 2-hour class. And no, sorry, we can't. Then COVID happens and they had everything online. And so she just signed him up online and it went through. And now he has a certificate from the community college.
That's awesome.
That he took French 1 and 2 and all that stuff. Like,
art was like, in elementary school, art was the one class I paid attention to. And it served me well because I eventually became a UX designer. And that was my career for a long time. And it really opened my eyes to like the designs of, this is a book of everyday things, like just the way a door opens is important.
Yeah.
You don't think it is, but when you're going into an office and you're rattling the door and you feel like an idiot in front of people walking by because the door has the same handle on both sides.
Yeah.
There's
a name for that, right?
I mean,
there's a name for doors that have like kind of like the pull handle when it's supposed to be pushed. It has
bi-directional door.
No.
I thought of a sling of curse words to say about the door because it drives me crazy.
Hey Siri, what is the name for a door that has a pull handle but it's actually push? Norman doors. Don't know whether to push or pull. Blame the design.
You know why? Norman doors. You know why it's called Norman doors?
Well, we know a Norman,
but not that Norman. Don Norman. I think it's Don Norman who literally wrote the book on usability, coined the term user experience, has a whole bunch of user research, and he's the one who like brings that to light.
Okay.
And he I think he wrote The Design of Everyday Things, maybe. So great books.
But yeah, that's why it's called. Yeah, that's
Norman doors. In The Design of Everyday Things, there's a great passage about usability and button clicking, right? Which is why I always reference, like, hey, push the button, man. If they have the words on it and you know what it's going to do, push that button.
Yeah.
Right? So he explains why elevators were designed with the numbers on the button and not next to it, not above it, not below it, or to the sides, right? If it's on the button, you know when you press it, if you press 15, you're going to the 15th floor. Yeah. Now, the reason that happened was because I believe at Chernobyl, or it might have Chernobyl or 3 Mile Island, the nuclear reactor meltdown happened, and this was Chernobyl because when they did a usability study of the switchboard that controlled the reactor going on and off, there was 100 multicolored buttons and switches, and they all had the label on top of the button. So there was some dude in there mashing a button who was filled with anxiety and was when he clicked it, shut it down, he was turning it up, right? And it went nuclear, so to speak. But that's like why, because the label was above the button, and it's unclear in a pressure-filled situation which button belongs to which label. So in the elevators, they were like, hey, let's make it easy. Another interesting usability story about elevators, famous architect builds, and I don't know what building it was, but he builds this giant skyscraper in New York City for hundreds of millions of dollars. All the investors come back and they're like, it's taken forever for people to get onto the elevators. It's taken like a half hour, 45 minutes to get to the upper floors. It's not working. People are pissed. Tenants want to leave. So he goes in there and he's like, well, there's enough elevators for enough people. Like, I don't understand what's going on. And it was really a usability problem. People were jamming the lobby because they didn't have anything else to distract their attention to, so they weren't like being decent to one another as they loaded themselves into the elevators. They would either pack in or not make the most space use of the space, or they wouldn't wait for the next one, which is a big thing in an elevator. If you ever notice when people are like, you know what, there's a lot of people that are going to wait for the next one instead of packing in, that actually helps more elevators go up and down. So he knew that, and what he wound up doing was he installed mirrors all around the lobby, so this way people would look at themselves. Sometimes women would refresh their makeup, comb their hair, men would like straighten their tie, and just those few seconds of that gave enough time for elevator doors to shut and send people up, and you wait for the next one. Solve the whole problem with $100 worth of mirrors.
That is amazing. Yeah. I love stories like that.
Yeah.
There's one of my favorite books is Checklist Manifesto, and it talks about all about checklists and how, you know, different uses in different places, and, you know, the way to delegate work to people is by creating a checklist of the goals that they need to achieve and all this stuff, and they just go and say, okay, blah blah. One of them is a story of one of the fighter planes. I forgot which one, but basically, in order to run it, they just went through a checklist because it's so complicated how to use. They just went down the list of a checklist. But yeah, I love stories like that.
No, I look at the cockpit of like a fighter jet, and like, the way that I think they drive that plane is not the way that it's driven. Same with a helicopter. I was unaware that to operate a helicopter, you needed both arms and both feet.
Legs, yeah.
And, you know, I was over, like, just a few months ago, and my mother-in-law was having her back surgery. We were going in and out of the hospital, and we would park in the parking lot, and it was a tight parking lot, and there's a helicopter pad there, and just when I pulled up, this dude comes rolling in the chopper, like it's a car, parks it, not a big deal. Lays it down gently. Then people come out. They're like, it's windy. It's not a big deal. You know, they get the patient. They run him into the ER. You know, and the dude's like, signs like a thing, like a.
Yeah, I got this.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back. Takes off, rolls out. Yeah, super cool, man. It made me think like, take some helicopter lessons, maybe. I don't think I should drive a helicopter, even a plane.
I've done plane lessons before.
Yeah,
I have.
Somebody we know has a helicopter license. Who is it?
I know Ben had
Ben took lessons. Ben definitely did. Someone, who is it? I think someone on my team like has it, and they just let it lapse. Because at first when I heard that, I was like, we're flying. Like, how much does it cost? Where's the airport that we fly out of? We're going on a ride. Like, I want to go up with the plane.
Dude, yeah, getting your pilot's license, that's cool as hell.
Well, I could take us up there and we could jump out. Right? we could have our own parachuting, you know?
I've done
skydiving. I've seen that.
Yeah. And I don't know. It's one of those things that it's like, cool, kind of done.
You want to keep doing it?
If I get the opportunity, then yeah. But yeah, it's not one of those things that. The problem with me is I love to accomplish those things, but once I do them, that's it for me.
Jack of all trades, man. Next.
No, next.
Next.
Right?
Yeah.
That's part of it. The other part of it is that something can cost $20, and I'll be like, I don't want to spend $20 on that. Yeah. But then something can cost $500. And yeah, and if it's something that I'm interested in at the moment, I'll be like, yeah, let's go, buddy.
There you go.
So something like that, like, you know, jumping out of a plane, it's like, $200, $300. You know, I was like, I don't want to spend that money on that. So I get like that. That's the way that I am. But yeah,
for me also too, it's like, I'm going to give, so when I think about it, when I'm like, I want to try skydiving, then I really think about it, I'm like, you're going to pay someone $300 to jump out of a perfectly good plane. and you're going to throw yourself at the ground at terminal velocity for a thrill. Like, is it worth it? You know, I think that way.
Now they have those, like, the tubes. What is it called?
What do you mean? Which is because what you just described, I imagine that you're going to shoot me off the ground in some air.
Yeah, exactly. No,
really?
Yeah, really. It's called like what's it called? Sky something.
Nothing new on under the sun, man. All they did was took the dude in the cannon at the circus and turned it straight up into the air and started shooting regular folk out of it.
No, it's like a big fan underneath it, and
I thought I was getting shot out of a cannon this whole time, man. So Piero goes to that, with his son, It's cool, man. He gets it. They get in there. It's really
I fly.
Yeah. He has one near his house. I think he went to a couple times. Him and Little P went there. He sent me a video. I was like, dude, that looks like a lot of fun. Yeah.
That looks cool. But yeah, other than that, same thing with tattoos. They interest me. I would want to get some. But at the same time, every time I think about it, I'm like,
I got a few.
Wait. So let's
shirt. They're all under the shirt, and there's Buddy Jesus.
Buddy Jesus,
Buddy
which
Christ.
is the funniest.
I want to get them colored back in, like get them touched up. But like, I have like a dragon down here, and I always think about getting a sleeve. But then I'm like, I could get things that are meaningful, and I used to be and still am an artist in most respects. Like, there's a lot of imagery I would like to represent on a daily basis. But then I'm like, paying $500-600 for a lot of pain at the end of the day. So I really gotta love and that's not always the case. That's why I have my name on my leg, right? Like, I was like 18 and allowed to get a tattoo. I was like, I'm gonna get old English letters that I can barely read. I'll put that on my kids, man. My one daughter, she's a lot like me. She's like, I'll come down the steps. She was like, first off, you got your name on your leg and you have skin socks. I'm like, don't look at them. Don't look at them.
Yeah, but that's the reason why I don't want tattoos, because it's like I don't want to spend the money.
I also don't want to be perceived as a tough guy that's going to fight everyone in a bad situation. Like, what if something pops off at the Acme and the manager's like, go get the tall guy with the tattoos. He looks like he's going to get into it.
I do jiu-jitsu, right? So my coach, he has the cauliflower ears, and all that stuff. And he used to train in New York, and he used to take the train to New York all the time. And he says there's so many stories of people just getting a glimpse of the cauliflower ear and just be like, oh yeah, you're a tough guy?
Really?
Yeah. And he's like, come on, man. He's like, I just spent 4 hours training. I'm like, I don't want to do this, right? He's like, yeah, I just had to put a couple crackheads down. It's nothing. World champion. Just just...
You don't... so...
Can you imagine just trying to pick a fight with a world champion?
I'm trying to look at it from his perspective, man, I'm just trying to go home right now.
So he would put his hoodie over his ear so he would hide.
He should have to identify himself as a world champion. He should have a patch or a necklace or something that says, if you want to get into it, it's very likely you'll be on the ground and possibly hurt.
His last match, it ended in 60 seconds, and the only reason that it took so long is because the guy kept running away from him.
He got tired, he got caught.
Yeah, he just chased him down on the floor, and then he got into it, and boom, heel hug, done. The whole day, he didn't even break a sweat.
My dad always told me not to mess with the guys that had ears like that.
Yeah.
And he also told me don't mess with really short guys either. He's like, listen, you're tall like me. He's like, and I'm telling you right now, I have never won a fight against a small dude. He's like, they will whip on you. They'll come in fast and close, and your whole thing is reach. He's like, trust me, you don't know how to fight, but when you do, it's all about your reach. Yeah. And he's like, when they get in close and they just bear hug you, it's over. It's over for you.
You just gotta know how to deal with the bear hug now.
Right. Which I don't know how to do. How many times I lost fights in the schoolyard because some little guy bear hugged me. And I was like, I can't breathe.
Next time you come over, we'll do our regular workout, and then we'll do a little lesson on jiu-jitsu.
All right.
You'll be flying up in the air.
Up on a big guy. All right.
Oh, man. It's fun, man. You should do it. I'm telling you. You should come and do it.
Yeah, I'm not against it. I'm not against it. I don't know where it fits into the schedule yet for jiu-jitsu.
You make it fit.
I know you make it fit. You want the time, you make the time.
You make the time. Like I told you, I told you this last week. I think we were talking. I do a lot. Like I feel like I'm a good father. I do a lot for the kids. I play chess every day. I do jiu-jitsu. Try to work out. Get like basically do my work. Don't miss out on that. And so like basically people are like, oh, how do you have the time? Just make the time.
Yeah, and you got 5 o'clock basically. So that depends on what we're doing, but at work, between 5 and 6 you're done, right? I work out every other day, plus coming here, and then I walk the dogs for an hour. That is my moment of zen. That I never skimp on that. Yesterday, this is how much I don't skimp on walking my dogs. I love doing it so much. And for anyone out there that doesn't have a dog, get a dog and walk it for an hour a day. It will change your life. We got caught in a rainstorm, and like I go out in inclement weather with the dogs. Like we were soaked, but they were happy. They were like, "This is great, We're nice and cool."
Yeah, especially your husky, right?
Well, you know what the strange part about owning a husky, and I never knew. So they have 2 coats, right? They have an undercoat, an inner coat, an outer coat, right? The outer coat hair follicles are hollow, so like a car with wax on it, the water beads off. If they stay out long enough in the rain, they get soaked. Then the inner coat gets wet, but it usually doesn't get wet. So that outer coat does 2 things. It protects them from inclement weather, getting wet. It also protects them from wind, and so their inner coat can insulate them, and they can stay out in below 20 degree weather. But also, you would think in the summertime it'd be really tough for them. It keeps the sun off their body. So like I'll go outside and Maverick, my husky's out there laying upside down in the sun on a 90 degree day. I'm like, dude, like you can't be. You're cooking right now. Like you got to come in.
You don't even know it.
Yeah, he's out there for like 10 minutes and he comes in. He does get hot in the summer, but like I never knew that. Like
That's interesting.
That's pretty cool, man.
That is cool.
The golden retriever doesn't care. Like I have to stop him from doing stuff. He's like, I got your back wherever you go. Anything you do, I'm right here by your side.
Just love fest.
He's awesome, man. My husky, like I'll go home and I will step over him. Like when I come in the door, the golden retriever will be like, "Oh my God, you're here!" It'll make a big deal. The husky will be like, "Meh."
Growing up, what kind of pets did you have?
German shepherds. I always had cat too. One of the reasons I always liked having a cat. One, I'm a pet per animal person. I love animals, all animals. But having cats, while they can be messy and they destroy things with claws, and they serve a very important function in my house, is that I have never had a rodent or a bug issue or anything because they catch everything that comes into the house. Literally, like my cats, they were going outside for a little bit, like they'll go outside and then they'll come back in, but like they started lining mice up at the front door. There'd be like 3 dead mice in a row. And I'd be like, like it's like a trophy.
Showing off.
Like, yeah, like showing up. Like that's brutal, guys. Like,
dude, that's nuts.
Yeah, but they're
Yeah, I had a couple dogs. We had a Cocker Spaniel growing up. That was my sister's.
I love those. My grandfather had one.
Yeah, and then here we had a pit bull. We had a red-nosed pit bull, and the city killed him.
Really?
Somebody came up to him, and he didn't see him, and he turned around and bit the guy. He thought he was like sneaking up on him.
Yeah.
And that was like strike 1. And apparently they only do strike 2 because another time, my mom was letting him in the house and just kind of like let go of the leash, thinking he'll just walk into the house like usual. And right before he turned around and he saw somebody with a dog, and he went up and the dog started like attacking him. He wanted to play, and he's like, "Yeah, you want to go? Let's go." And he bit the neck of the other dog, and he didn't attack the person, but yeah, the city was like, "No, he's a menace to the city," and in order to fight it, it was gonna cost like ridiculous money.
Yeah. That's sad, man.
Yeah.
That's always sad. Because pit bulls, I know them to be awesome dogs.
He was so nice. His name was Chico.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like, to me, what you just told me is that he has your back. Like, that's all that was happening there, right?
That's all.
Like if a person came up like and startled me, or like, you know, like
you would bite him too.
Yeah, like, or at least I got a punch in the face or something, like, you know.
Yeah, no, we had this little girl who's, you know, probably in college now. Jesus, I feel old.
You're younger than me.
She was no, but I swear this is like, you know, 18 years ago. So she was growing up and she was learning how to walk, and so she was grabbing onto things to get up, and Chico was around and she saw his balls just like hanging there.
Oh man.
And just grabbed onto them and to stand up, and he literally just like kind of like
Poor Chico.
like what the hell, like nothing, did not hurt her, did not bark, did not do anything, just was like, what are you doing, you know, nicest dog ever. Yeah.
Damn.
Could be trusted with a baby.
Like, you should have told that story to the city, but like, people grabbed his balls before and he's fine. Like, he didn't do anything, man. Like, come on, guys. Like, come over and just grab his balls and see what happens. Like, if I let you grab my dog's balls, can we call this quits?
Can we call this quits?
Yeah. Like, that's a great test. Like, for anybody.
I don't think he would.
I feel like that should be an option in a court of law. Like, for anything. Like, if you
like who in the city would be like in charge
the ball
of
grabber?
Yeah, like who's the one that drawing the short straw there?
Probably on the order of like the jizz mopper, right? Like at the nudie bookstore, the jizz mopper.
What is that?
What?
Oh, the jizz
mopper.
Totally went over my head there.
That's what my friends always tease me, like, oh, Roger's gonna be a jizz mopper when he grows up. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna be a jizz mopper when I grow up. I'm on regular floors, thank you very much. like in a food store. Aspire to be something better.
I remember having a conversation. What do you want to be when you grow up? Like, this is already your like early high school, so you kind of have like some sense of who you are. And I was like, I don't know, like, but I want to wear a suit. Whatever I do, I want to wear a suit. And my brother just goes, car salesman wear a suit. You gonna be a car salesman? And I was like, no, maybe not. No, it seemed like back then it was like, you know, like, oh, you're wearing a suit? You must be important.
I had that conversation.
Now it's like, I don't care what I wear.
Yeah, I don't even wear. I don't even think I have a suit, but it hasn't touched me. And
I have many suits. It's just like, they're just on one side of the closet that doesn't get touched.
I don't even like put a collared shirt on for work anymore when I'm on camera. I'm like, you're getting a t-shirt. Like, that's what you're getting a Star Wars t-shirt.
At home, I don't put a collar, but if I go to work, yeah.
Well, yeah, if I go to work, I feel like we're supposed to, right?
Yeah.
Like, or else, like, I would show up in my flip-flops and cargo shorts, you know?
This isn't a startup.
This is not a startup. You have to be presentable.
As a consultant, I worked for startups.
Yeah.
And it was totally that culture of like shorts and flip-flops, and I would still show up with like, you know, khakis and collar shirt and be like, yeah, I'm sorry, I can't do this. And then they would have ping pong table like in the middle of the
Right.
place, and I was watching them play, you know, and all this stuff. And one day I'm like, that's it, I'm gonna bring my ping pong paddle over. I'm gonna whoop their So I bring my ping pong paddle, and you know, I just go, can I play? Yeah. Take out. They're like, come on.
Yeah,
they just
paddle. Everyone's gonna lose because you brought.
They're like, no. You have to use the house paddle. I was like, all right, cool. And I was like, wow, just whooped him.
Yeah, I was never great at ping pong. I was okay at pool.
I got a pool table.
I was okay. I mean, it's just like,
You want to play? Got a pool table?
yeah, we can play. You probably whip on me, but I like playing pool. I like it. You probably play a lot. I don't play a lot.
I don't play a lot.
I have to go to a pool hall to play if I want So you go to downstairs and play.
No, I don't. So here's the thing. I that pool table came with the house. Mm-hmm. And the only time it's seen a lot of action is when we hosted the French kid for a month. Mm-hmm. And he was like, oh, pool? Like, and so he wanted to play pool every day. Mm-hmm. And so every day we would go downstairs and play. And like for 1 month, like I was playing every day. That's it. But like, I grew up playing a little bit. And then back in Philly, I used to live in a condo that had pool table in the clubhouse. Mm-hmm. And every Wednesday, all the old guys would go play pool. And I would join them. I was the only young guy there. It was like all like 80, 90-year-old guys who are like shaking. But as soon as that cue is like ready to go, it was like, whoop, steady, boom. It's like on the money. Like, they were good. Yeah. And they taught me, like, a thing or two. Yeah. And so I'm not great, but I can hold my own.
Yeah, I learned how to, like, play, but I never got real good at it. My dad used to play darts all the time. He was really good at darts. So I played a lot of darts. American darts.
I never got into that.
Darts, like, my dad was good, like, to where, like, hit the bullseye, here's 3 in a row. Like, he was good in that regard. Like, he was really good. Yeah. My dad was good at, like, the sport. Like, he was really good at, like, bowling, pool, darts. Like, he could just... And then we had all those things in our house, except the pool table. But those were, like, the kind... And then when I started playing ice hockey when I was a kid, that was brand new to our family. And he was like, if you're going to do it, let's do it. And we did. I went all out, man.
Ice hockey?
Yeah, all out. Every weekend, 5 a.m. practices every other day. You know, like in the cold rink. Like summertime, I walk outside now, I walk into a rink that's like 50 degrees and play a game, you know.
I played roller hockey in Philly.
Yeah, I just played roller hockey in the park.
And then when I moved to Harrowtown, I moved to a different city and they had ice hockey as one of the sports in high school. And I was like, oh, I want to play ice hockey. And so I was like super pumped about it. And I got like, you know, the brochure for it or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I saw that it was like, just the entry was like $700.
It's expensive to play.
Yeah. And I was like, we don't have $700.
It's expensive to play. So you said Havertown?
Yeah.
We used to play against them all the time. They're a very good team. Yeah. One of the cool traditions, and I still have these, that we had playing was that your team usually would have a pin of your logo, and you would trade it with the other players. So every time you went to a new team, you got a new pin. But I used to go up there and play Havertown all the time. We were pretty good. It was a good. I played for like 14, 15 years. A lot of injuries, though. You don't come out of hockey unscathed. No. Especially when you're 18, you're allowed to punch each other in the face. That was awesome. Because up until then, you wear a cage, and like a fight is useless, right? Like, because you get punched in the face a million times, it never touches your actual face. It just hurt. You know, your head kind of bobbles like a bobblehead a little bit. But when you're allowed to start punching each other in the face is when it gets interesting. Because then it matters. You get someone's jersey over their head. And
here I was just saying last episode that you're a gentle giant and all that stuff. It's like apparently not.
In hockey, it was seek and destroy. If you had the puck, I didn't even care that you had it. I just had to make sure you weren't on your feet anymore. Like, against the boards, and the boards would rattle. Like, it was open air hits, and fights are in hockey turn the tone of the game.
I'll tell you a story on the ice. So there's a famous MMA fighter who lives nearby. He's like, I'll tell you, it's Eddie Alvarez, right? And I don't know if you know, but like he's a UFC fighter. Well, he doesn't fight anymore, but he lives nearby, and his kid and my kid are in the same grade, same school. Mm-hmm. And I used to organize all the events for, you know, the 6th graders. So one day I go, we do an ice hockey, not hockey, just ice skating. You know, like, so he comes in. I'm looking at him, and I'm like, he looks familiar. You know, and I knew the kid because I knew all the kids' name and all that stuff. I was like, hey, how are you? Blah blah. And I was like, yeah, Alvarez. Yeah, cool. And he's like, hey, I'm Eddie, and I'm thinking, Eddie Alvarez. Fuck you, he's Eddie Alvarez. Like, you know, it didn't hit me until like, you know, I put the two together. And I'm like, holy shit. And then I was like, okay, but I didn't, you know, like fan out or anything like that. I was like, oh yeah, nice to meet you. Come on in. So later that day, it was like 10 minutes before everything's over, and his kid falls on the ice and breaks his leg. And I'm like, crap, I gotta call Eddie Alvarez and tell him that his son broke his leg on my watch. Like, oh man. So I'm trying to like contact them, and I'm like, oh, like, you know, like, it's okay. Like, we're calling 911. You know, they're on their way. You know, and he's rushing over. But yeah, like, totally cool guy, nice family, nice and everything. But
that's awesome.
Yeah. But for a second there, I'm like,
what if he pushed me in the face?
Like, what did you do to my kid?
Or what if like a roundhouse kick to the face?
Yeah, no.
Or he hits me in the solar plexus.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want that.
He wouldn't do that. But I, you know, for a second there, it's like, shit.
But you even see like Mike Tyson messes with people like that all the time. Like, they'll be like, sorry, and he'd be like, it's on. Like, yeah. They'll like dance around him. Yeah. And everybody flinches away because nobody wants to get hit by Mike Tyson.
I remember seeing a video of this guy like training in front of Mike Tyson, and Mike Tyson's trying to give him like pointers, and the guy holding the pad is like flinching at him, not even like throwing the punches, just shadow boxing in front of the pads, and the guy is like flinching. It's like, Jesus, man, that's crazy. Like,
because Mike closes that distance, and then he's on. He's on.
Then
he's swinging.
He's here, and then it's like, whoop, he's here, and you're like, oh,
and
here comes a punch.
Yeah, I would never want to fight Mike Tyson.
No.
Never.
There's a picture of me beating a cartoon of me beating up Mike Tyson. The funny thing is, it was a work event. It was they had one of those cartoonists at like the picnic, and I'm like, and they had the face painting, and so I'm like, I'm gonna put the Mike Tyson.
I remember that.
Yeah, I put the Mike Tyson, you know, like face paint, and then I went to a cartoonist, and I was like, can you like draw me, like I'm boxing, and he surprised me and drew me like punching Mike Tyson, knocking his tooth out.
That's awesome. Yeah, I see.
So
I remember it.
Yeah, my kid got it. So would you ever want to fight Mike Tyson? No. That's just a cartoon.
That's
we'll keep it on drawing. All right, man. Let's wrap this up.
Yeah, let's wrap it up.